Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. You know what today is? Monday Morning Chats with Sack. Sack is me. Hope that you guys had a great weekend. I am drinking water. It's in a black plastic cup. It's water in here, nothing else. But I had it was a good weekend. And this weekend gave me confirmation on a few things. And then what topped my weekend off, I went to church. I was in person. So I've been traveling for like over a week. And so Wednesday night, I got home extremely late Wednesday night. And it felt good to just really sleep in my bed. So when you're away, I know for me, I can speak for myself. When I'm away from home, I start to get homesick. And so it just felt good to be back in my house. Like in my house. It feels good. So if I had to label this, it'll be a few things, right? And it'd be based on conversations that I had and just so far as it relates to how the summer is going. So you know how they say that, the summer bodies are made in the winter. Just telling you that summer body was definitely made in the winter. So I am already summer ready. So I just came back from the gym. So please excuse my attire. Just came back from the gym, had leg day, and so we'll see how my legs feel later on. So if I had to label this, it will be that thoughtfulness matters, right? Thoughtfulness matters. And if you're trying to keep it 100, listen to this before you do so, because I had some tips, right? So thoughtfulness, what does that mean to be thoughtful? What does that mean to be thought of? And so I had a conversation with one of my good girlfriends a few weeks ago. And she knew that I was wrapping up. I'm no longer president of Miami Mental. Whew, I have my life back. So I'm no longer president of Miami Mental. I am a part of another board where I'm a secretary. And it feels good not to have like that president title. Like everyone was like, you're still my president. I'm not. I'm not your president. Even when I was in law school, I was the president of the Black Law Students Association. And my exec board still called me president. And I'm like, no. I'm flattered, but I don't need that title no more. I did my 12 months and I bounced, right? I bounced. And so when me and my girlfriend, she reached out to me because she knew that I was planning for a big event, a Hall of Fame event. I was planning for that. Then I was, tightening up some things with the Bar Association. Already on a new board. Have a new job. Started Monday. It was just unofficial start date and I'll be in the office tomorrow. So I had all this, like June was like, I didn't have like a free weekend for myself to like just sit home. Like every weekend there was something. From the beginning of June to the end, like there was something like planned. There was something I had to do. Right? So she reached out to me and was like, hey Sakina. And I was like, hey. She was like, I'm just checking up on you. I know that you have a lot going on and, I know things are going to get better, but I was just checking up on you to see how you are doing. And I think what some people fail to realize is that being thought of, little kind gestures like that, it goes a long way. And I told her, I said, you know what? I feel like this whole idea of thoughtfulness, I think it's a lost art, right? Like, it's nothing like being thought of. It's nothing like somebody reaching out to you and saying, hey, how are you? I like to send cards, like handwritten notes or just like a short email, or I have a subscription. I know I have a lot of subscriptions, and I have a subscription to 123 card, and it's electronic card. And so sometimes I'll just randomly think about somebody and say, hey, you came across my thoughts and I just hope that you're okay, right? That's just a small gesture and you just never know like how long, like it goes a long way. It goes a long way when you give out kind gestures. It's okay to just be kind. Or I thought that I started doing this thing where during the beginning of the pandemic, right, when we had that stay-at-home order, everyone was going through, including me, because I like to be out. And when I was mentally okay, I would send out text messages like, hey, just checking in, right? Just checking in. And I was looking at like a text message I sent somebody, because we don't communicate as often, so I'm able to go back to an older message I know, like from years ago, maybe 1 year, 2 years ago. And I realized, like, hey, I was doing this for some time. Just a matter of just, hey, checking in. How are you today? I hope that you are well. I hope that you are great. It goes a long way. And so I challenge you to reach out to somebody that you haven't talked to in a while. Just say, hey, just checking in. I hope everything is okay with you. And if not, I hope that you know that it's okay not to be okay. Watch their reaction. One of my friends taught me this. So when someone tells you, hey, I hope you have a great day, people may say you too. So I switch up and say, have a better one. That flips people out. Like when I first started saying it, it caught people off guard because they didn't even think about that. They didn't even think that I would say something like that. Like, you want me to have a better day than you? Yeah, I do. I want you to have an even better day than what I'm having. Because my day is going to be great, right? It's going to be great. But I want your day to be even better. Because you deserve it, right? You absolutely deserve it. So thoughtfulness, it goes a long way. Then, wow. I'll say this before I go to the next topic. So, I'm the type of person where once I make up my mind about something and I'm going to move forward with something, I'm going to do it, right? I am going to do it. But the question is, would people believe me, right? Would people believe me? I didn't run into somebody, but I met up with someone that I haven't seen like in a long time, like 12 years. They were in my neighborhood. They were actually where I was hanging out at. Yeah. My friends, sidebar, my friends are super dope. Like, people that I'm cool with, like, they're still trying to celebrate me. So I went out Thursday, Friday, Saturday, going out again this week. Like, I'm going to be lit, right? I'm going to enjoy myself. We'll talk about enjoying yourself later. But when the person said, this was a gentleman, and he said, after we it was good to see each other, like, hey, give each other hugs, like, hey, man, it's been a long time, like, I hope that you're well, like, what's new, like, how's life going for you? We just talked about life. And when I got in my car and I drove home, mind you, I'm playing my 90s music, minding my business, and I get a call. And he said, I really messed up. I was like, I'm driving. Kind of pissed because I'm listening to my 90s music as I'm driving. And I was like, what? You messed up? I don't get it. He was like, when I first met you, I really needed you at that time, but I knew you were going to law school. I was like, okay. So did you not believe me that I was going to law school? He's like, I should have been more patient. And I listened to what this person was saying. Should have been more patient. I'm thinking maybe he thinks, I don't know, I'm not a mind reader. Maybe he thinks if he was patient, things would have happened differently. But the one thing that I've learned in life is that life, it happens, right? It happens to us. You let the chips lay where they fall at. And sometimes you can pick up the chips and move on, or you could just walk past them. And regardless of whatever happened, I think life was supposed to happen this way. That was supposed to be someone that I met during life, but not someone to try to do life with, if that makes sense. And sometimes you have to understand that. And you have to understand that some people come in your life. Now, I get these calls, like, coming to Jesus moments, like, what happened? Why did you break up with me? Why did you leave me? And I'm like, life happens to us. And the way life works, that it just keeps going, right? It just keeps going. And so sometimes, like, for me, I've learned not to hold grudges, right? If someone hurt me in the past, I've learned how to forgive. I won't say quickly, but I learned how to forgive. And when I do, I just erase the debt. Like, whatever the debt, meaning whatever happened. Because there were times where I needed God to forgive me for a lot, right? A lot. And I never want him to say, well, I'm going to forgive you, but remember all the times you did this and you did that? I don't want God to do that to me. So it's hard. It's hard to do that. but I'm so much better at it. So I was like, I mean, life just happened to us, right? And you gotta learn how to just roll with the punches, and you just have to learn to just keep moving forward. The only time I want to look back is just to see if there's any dirt on my high heels, because I don't need that. So the next thing is, people in life will piss you off, right? People will upset you. People may get you to the point where you want to lay hands on them. Not the praying hands, the fists, right? People may get you there. And people may hurt your feelings. People may say things that you disagree with. Or maybe you don't like how somebody is moving. And it's easy to say, you know what? I'm going to keep it 100 with this person, right? Or I'm going to be brutally honest with somebody. And it's easy to say that. It's easy to say I'm going to be 100 with you. It's easy to say I'm going to be brutally honest. But when you are like that, it's like sometimes it can come off as you're condemning the person. So before you decide to keep it 100 and be brutally honest, I think you can be honest without the brutal part. I think you can tell somebody with gentleness instead of keeping it 100. And so I struggled with that, right, for some time. And I'm a lot better at it now. And I've been reading memes like, hey, I'm going to just match your energy. So if you are like this, I'm going to be just like that. And I thought about it, I was like, damn, I should, I should match energy. You know, if you're mean, I could be the meanest bitch from West Philly, right? If you get nasty, I could be worse, right? Because it's all about matching energy. So I was like, you know what? I can really do that. I can really match energy. And I kept seeing all these memes, and I was like, you know what? I've done a lot of healing. And for me to match energy or to be brutally honest, it's like all my work went down the drain. Now, I will tell somebody how I feel, but it's a way to go about it. And so my pastor, I'm telling you, it was meant for me to go to church, right? Because I'm seeing all these memes like, hey, match energy. I would just see who you are, and it'll allow me to act accordingly. Not match energy, I'll just act accordingly. So I went to church, and my pastor, he talked about the title was called God's Dress Code, right? And we talked about that. Like, you know, people want to keep it 100, people want to be brutally honest, but when you think about it, when you are, it's like you're trying to condemn a person. So how do you respond when someone's not treating you the way that you want to be treated? Or how do you respond when someone's being nasty directly towards you? Now, this may sound crazy, and you may want to slap, and you may say, no, like, I'm not going to do this. I think it has to do with being, your words, being gentle with your words, right? Being gentle. If someone tried to curse me out, I would have to take a step back, take a breather, because I know how I want to respond. But being gentle, like, you can tell somebody how you feel without making it sting, right? So I have this where I talk to my students, and if I realize they did like a terrible job, I'm not gonna say, listen, I gotta be honest with you, this fucking sucks. Like, I'm not gonna say that to a student. But what I will say is, hey, I hold you to this standard, and this is what I want you to meet all times. And I want you to try to exceed it. So let's go through this assignment. Let's look at what you have done. And let me tell you what I have expected from you. When you do this, this is the end result of it. But let's make sure that this doesn't happen again, because this is unacceptable. And when you phrase it like that, the person's able to receive it. But if you say, hey, you know, you did a fucked up job on this. Hey, you're getting a 0. This is terrible. I'm not going to look at it. A student's not going to receive that, or anybody else that you're talking to will not be able to receive that at all. They will not be able to receive it. But how are you able to Like, be gentle with somebody. Kindness is something that's overlooked, and I feel like it is a lost art. Like, it's okay to be kind. One thing that I've done at all jobs, right, is that when I come in, I'm like super chipper, and it doesn't matter if I have coffee or not. But the one thing that I've learned growing up is to, when you enter a room, is to speak to everyone that you make eye contact with. Like, if you are in a big space, like maybe you're at an event, it may be hard to talk to everyone. But if you lock eyes with someone, it's okay to say, hey, how are you? So what I did at jobs is that when I come into the office and I'm walking past people's offices, I would say, hey, good morning. Hey, have a great day. I didn't know that went a long way, right? I didn't know that. When someone upsets you, how you repay them back is just to be kind. It kills them every fucking time. Like, every time. When someone's nasty to you, like, someone try to get smart, I had to take a step back. Like, wait a minute, this person talking to me? Then I'm like, you know what? I understand how you feel. And maybe you are being very explosive right now with your emotions. And you are acting out. And I know this may not be coming from a good place. So I'm going to ignore it. And when your heart and your mind is aligned, we can have a conversation. But until then, okay. Or, hey, I'm not going to entertain this conversation right now. But when you have the mental capacity to have a conversation, we could do that. If it messes people up consistently. Like, when people want to get a reaction out of you and you don't give it to them, it messes them up every single time. Like, every freaking single time. Every time. Being grateful, right? That's what my pastor talked about. Being grateful, having grace. Because when you're kind to people, you want people to be that to you. But being grateful. So gratefulness ties into the last thing I want to say, is that life happens to all of us. I just got off the phone with one of my cousins, and her daughter died from cancer last year. And she has her moments, and I get it, right? Life happens to us, right? You can't control what's going to happen tomorrow. You can't control what's going to happen next week. You can only control what's in the moment. That whatever you can do. You can't control other people. You can't do none of those things. But you can control what you do, right? You can control that. So my girlfriend told me the other day that she has so much stuff going on, and she was like, I got to be strong, right? And I told her, I said, well, what does strong really mean? And I said, so why do you have to be strong? I got so much I got to keep going. I was like, well, let's take off this cape called I'm a strong ass bitch, and let's process our emotions. Like, yes, you're going through everything, and I acknowledge that, and I get it, and I understand it. But instead of trying to be like the strong person, why don't you just let it all out? Like, if you need to cry, why don't you do that? Why don't you cry? Won't you do that? I told my cousin today. She's like, there's moments where I cry over my daughter dying, and it's a lot. And I said, but that's okay. Like, that's okay. Because the one thing that I learned, life happens, right? Life happens. People that you love will die. You may lose your job. You may lose your house. Somebody may take all the money out of your bank account. I just lost one of my good friends. The weekend of Father's Day was murdered right in front of his house. Murdered right in front of his house. And I talked to him a week before his death. 40 years old. 40 years old. And did it crush me? Oh my God, it crushed. Because I found out over social media, right? And I didn't know. And I thought it was all a game. I thought like someone was just playing. But no, I looked on the news and it was true. My good friend was murdered. And it's one thing to, when you're experiencing death, when someone dies because they're sick, that's easier for me to process. But this is the first time in my life where I had to experience a friend getting murdered. Like, I had a friend that died last year because of a medical issue. I have family members that died because of a medical issue. But when someone gets murdered, that's a different type of pain. But the company that he owns, the restaurant, they're still moving forward. They're still remembering him, but they're still moving forward. And so I told my cousin today, she was like, I had my moments. She has a youngest daughter where she's in law school, and her daughter, my cousin, is somewhat afraid to live a life because she's in law school. And she's like, I don't want to do this, and people are watching me. And I told my cousin, I was like, look, tell your daughter to call me. I said, better yet, I'm going to call her. And I said, in life is going to happen to us. Yes, you can look at whatever my titles that I have. You can look at all that stuff. But let me tell you, I'm going to have a good time no matter what. I'm going to make sure that I seize every moment of my life. I can't get today back. I can't get yesterday back. But what I can do is say that today, I'm going to have a good ass day. And I am. And so I challenge you to be grateful for the moment that you're in now. And no matter what's going on around you, it's life. It's going to happen. Now, I'm not saying that you can't grieve. I'm not saying that it's okay to grieve, because grieving is not linear. It's like a slope, right? Some days you are good. You're on a high horse. And other days you are down, right? It's just like, it could be a slope. But the question that I have is, when life is happening, how do you show up for yourself? Life is going to happen. You may realize that your job didn't pay you all your money. Now you may be short paying the bills, right? Or you may lose a job. You may lose something. Or something may go on in life that you disagree with. How are you still able to show up for yourself? And what does that look like? What does that look like? Or do you have to wait until life gets really good, really, really good for you to say, you know what, I want to live? What if life never goes in the way that you expected? Right? Maybe you had this idea, this imagination of what you want your life to look like. It's like this glamorous lifestyle, or this glamorous, or however. But let's say that you never get there. So if you never get there, you're just like, you know what? I'm going to just sit still and I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to enjoy life. I'm just going to just sit here. And when my life gets glamorous, then I'm able to have fun. So my pastor talked about this, and let's say you go to somebody's house, you realize the house is really nice, and you start comparing it to yours. Like, damn, I wish I had a bigger house. I wish I had this, I had that. Why can't you be grateful for the moment that you have now? Like I told my cousin, if you're able to wake up and breathe on your own, you are blessed. You are absolutely blessed. So what are you doing to show up for yourself, even though life is still happening? How I show up for myself, I love to laugh. Like me, sometimes I will get on Instagram and just go to one of my favorite comedians' posts and just laugh. Laughter is good for the soul. I love to laugh. How else do I show up for myself? I give myself space to be emotional. If something hurts, I'm going to cry. If I need to cry, I'll do that. I know that grieving is not linear. So if I miss someone, whether they're dead or alive, I'm going to process that however I see fit, whether it's writing in my journal, whether it is, speaking of journal, I need to write a new poetry, a new poem. I didn't do that yet. Whether it's writing a new poem, whether it's just writing in my journal, whether it is talking to my therapist about like, hey, I need an appointment right now. I really want to talk to you about it, because sometimes you can talk to family, but they may not get it. But I show up for myself that way. Hey, if I need some relaxation, some me time, hey, get my nails and feet done. Get my hair done. Go to the spa. Because I'm going to show up for myself the best way that I see fit. Even though things are happening around me that I can't control it, I'm still going to show up for myself. I like to work out. Working out helps me reduce any type of stress that I may have or anything that I'm overthinking about. I love to work out. That is just me. So are you grateful that you are alive? Are you grateful? You may not be happy about what's happening around you. I get it. I understand. But what are you going to do in this moment to like really show up for yourself? I posted something on my social media where people think some people idea of success is about money and title, right? People see my titles and they give me all the kudos in the world. I love being a professor, I do, but that's not what makes me successful. In my opinion, that's not the ultimate idea of success for me, based on my position or the money I make or whatever. Like, that's not the ultimate thing for me for being successful. Because I can have all these things. I can tell you I'm a lawyer. I can tell you what I make. I can tell you all these things. But none of those things matter if I am not mentally okay. I can tell you I'm a lawyer, but I can't control if I'm going through anxiety. Let's say I'm going through anxiety or I'm depressed all the time. And I'm just not happy. The title stuff, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. So at the end of the day, success for me is about being mentally healthy. Having a job that you like. If you hate your job, please do myself and the universe and everybody around you a favor. Freaking resign, right? Because you spend most of your time throughout the week at your job. And if you hate your job, if you really hate your job, it's going to affect your mental health. It's going to affect you. It's going to affect you. It's going to affect how you communicate with others. It's going to affect everything. So if you hate your job, freaking leave. Like, just go. Just bounce. Say adios. If you need help writing a resignation letter, I got several. I'll send you some. Quit your job. Quit your job. I know, when the Beyonce song, Break My Soul, and it says, quit my job. Look, if you can't afford to quit your job, don't quit, but have a plan to leave. Like, have an exit strategy. Leave. And you don't have to be at a job for a certain amount of years to say, I want to quit. No, if you hate your job, freaking go. Make sure you have another plan, but go. What else does success look like for me? Being around the people that I love. Like, having family gatherings, having small get-togethers. Like, those are the things that I absolutely love. Vacation. That's what success looks like. Being able to be mentally okay, being on the beach, having some great food, being around people that I love. Like, those things and self-care, like, those things, that means a lot to me. I see so many people that make so much money and they are fucking miserable. They are miserable. They have no life. All they do is work. Yeah, your bank account may be bigger than mine. Yeah, you may have more money. You may be able to do more because you have more money than me. But what you don't have is joy, and that's something that I have. And I realize that some people that if they're so focused on all this money and making a living without being happy, like, you have no life. I've learned that. Being in corporate America, I got bonuses, I got a salary increase, and honestly, none of that stuff even mattered because I did not like my job. I like what I did. I didn't like going there because I knew that it would take a toll on me. Like, I'm working 15 hours a day. And I can't do the things I love, like going to the gym on a consistent basis. I can, but I was like, I need this extra time to go to sleep. Was missing out on family events or going extremely late, knowing that I was at work on a weekend, and this was happening consistently. And so be grateful for where you're at now, because life is going to happen to you. It is. It's going to be things that you don't like, and make sure that you're showing up for yourself. Make sure that you're doing things that are best for you, and whatever that may look like, as long as it's healthy. Me and my cousin, as I close, this was a few months ago. One of her friends, like, we have mutual friends, her dad passed away a few months ago. And my cousin went to the funeral, and she cried, even though she didn't know the father. And she was like, Sakina, like, we're getting at the age where our parents are getting older, and it's going to be a day where we have to bury our parents. We just hope it's not the other way around where our parents have to bury us, but it's going to be that day where we have to bury our parents. And I say, I hate even like thinking about that idea, but you're right. You're right. No one doesn't prepare you for the unexpected. When my aunt died last year, I was a little bit more prepared only because I knew how long she's been sick for a long time. Like, I already knew that. But no one prepares you for grief, right? No one tells you, hey, if you read this book ahead of time, when it happens, you'll be okay. No one doesn't. That doesn't happen. That doesn't even exist. But when my cousin said that, I said, you know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. But again, life, it just happens. When my dad lived with me, he told me. And I did not want to have this conversation with him. Like, we were talking about his life affairs. And, he's in good health now. And he's in good health. But my dad told me, like, when it's my time to die, I don't want a big funeral. I don't want to be buried. I want to be cremated. I don't want to have a burial. And I was like, Dad, I don't want to talk about this. But he was like, Sakina, it's going to happen one day. And that stuck to me. He was like, it's going to happen. But I wouldn't want you to be so worried. And I still want you to enjoy your life because you deserve it. And so life happens whether we want it to happen or not. People hurt us whether we want it to happen or not. Forgiveness is a choice that you give yourself. Like, hey, am I going to forgive or I'm not? Being kind is a choice. Are you going to be kind to your soul or are you going to be kind to people that are around you? It's a choice. Are you going to make the decision and not worry about what's going to happen tomorrow and just really focus on right now? Because it's a choice, right? Life happens to all of us, and some things are just unexpected, and sometimes we can say, you know what? It's not even fair. But are you going to make the decision and say, you know what? Today, I'm just going to focus on what I can control. I'm going to focus on this hour. That's the only thing I could do. Are you going to do that? Are you really going to do that? Because life is going to happen. Every time I walk out of my house, I always pray for covering. Every day when I pray for my friends covering. They don't even know. I don't need to tell them, but if they're listening to this live, I pray for your covering. I pray for the moment that you wake up, the moment that you place your feet on the ground. I pray that God covers you wherever you go. Whether you're going to your house, whether you're going to the supermarket, whether you're going just to see another friend. Life is not promised to any of us. It is not. But while I have breath in my body, I'm going to pray for your covering. I'm going to pray that you remain grateful. I'm going to pray that you remain happy. I'm going to pray that you just enjoy this moment, because life, it happens to us no matter what. I used to always tell myself, like when I was in law school, that, hey, or even hey, I don't want to, I can't really go out right now because I need to focus on, like, my school. And I did. Don't get me wrong, I did. I wanted to focus on school. I wanted to focus on, like, getting great grades. And I did. I got great grades, right? I wanted to focus on that. But I didn't want to have fun. I was like, I'm going to put my fun on the backside, and, I'm going to worry about that later. But what I realized is I can't get that time back. So I'm living my life now. I am. But I'm here to say that life is going to happen to us. No matter how good of a person you are, like, shit is going to happen. Like, fucked up shit is going to happen to you, right? Sorry for my French. But it's going to happen. It is going to happen to you. And so the question is, what are you going to do? Are you just going to just stay stuck and say, you know what? I'm going to just wait around till life get glamorous. If you do that, you'll be missing out on a lot. You'll be missing out on a lot. So make sure you enjoy every single moment. Worry about the things that you can control. Don't worry about the things you can't control, because life is going to happen. Life will slap you up. Life will, like, pull you all around. Like, they will do so much stuff. And you can't control it. My dad was my aunt's caregiver. Oh crap. My dad was my aunt's caregiver for, I want to say, 2 years before she died. My aunt died from AIDS, and so this year I will be. I need to run an AIDS walk, so it'll be 20 years since she died, and so I want to celebrate her life by running the AIDS walk. I did it in 2015, and so I want to celebrate it again for this year for 20 years of her death. My dad was her caregiver. And I remember my dad telling me that when it was time to figure out where she would go, he, asked my other aunts and uncles, and no one said yes. They said everything else but yes. My dad was living his life, right? His kids were older. We come over there for the summertime, over the weekend. He had no idea that he'll be his sister's caregiver. No idea. My dad was faithful in taking care of mine until she died. And I remember one time we was over there for the summertime. And my aunt, if you ever had someone that died from like cancer or AIDS, it's unbearable to watch. And I just watched my aunt's body deteriorate. Like, she stopped taking her medicine. She stopped caring because she knew she was going to die. She knew that. She had HIV and full-blown AIDS. And she knew she was going to die. And my dad was never really emotional around us, and he never really showed his emotions. I saw my dad cry for the first time when I was like 14 years old. He was crying with his sister on his living room floor. She sat down on the floor, and she just broke down crying. My dad couldn't control that was going to happen. And he sat right next to her, and he held her. It was like, I got you. My dad had my aunt, kept her until she had to go to hospice, and she died in the nursing home. I say all that to say is that things are going to happen to us no matter what. But my dad, the thing that I respected about my dad was, it was hard for him to watch his sister die. That's hard, right? I think a sibling's death, I never experienced a sibling loss. But I know people that have, and I can tell that it's unbearable. But what I can say is that he still tried to live his life the best way that he could. Yeah, it broke his heart that his sister was sick. And sometimes he would just cry just because, right? But it's life. Life happens to us. And so I just hope and pray that you just never give up on yourself. When life happens, it's going to happen. So, I hope that, this message resonated with you, and I hope you was able to get something back. So, one, thoughtfulness. It goes a long way. Little kind gestures goes a long way. So, I challenge you to be kind to somebody and be thoughtful. Number two, instead of you trying to be brutally honest with somebody or try to keep it 100, practice gentleness. Practice kindness. Practice tenderness, right? Practice those things. Practice gratefulness. Practice forgiveness. Because don't get me wrong, there's sometimes I want to pop off and I want to keep it 100. And I'm telling you, I'd be like, you know what, God? I'm going to say X, Y, and Z. But when I talk, it's something different. I'm like, God, I didn't even say that. It was all through him. So if you see me now and you knew me like 20 years ago, you'd be like, Sakina, you're not the same. And I'm not. Lastly, life happens to us. And so just be grateful for the moment that you were in. If you need to cry. You don't gotta be strong all the time. For what? Cry. It's absolutely okay. It's Monday, so to all the dope men out there, just never forget how amazing you are. You are phenomenal. You are awesome. You are great, and you are capable of great things. I just hope that you never, ever forget that. That's all I have, guys. I'm gonna have fun today. A lot of fun. So I hope that you guys have fun. And laugh, because I'm going to laugh a lot. Laugh and just enjoy this moment. Don't worry about tomorrow. Just enjoy this moment. Take care, guys.